Chapter 8. The Queen's Croquet Ground.
8. The Queen's Croquet Ground. Once more Alice found herself in the long hall and close to the little glass table. I'll manage things better now, she thought, taking the little gold key and unlocking the tiny door. Then she nibbled at the piece of mushroom she had kept. When she was about a foot high, she walked down the little passage and found herself at last in the beautiful garden. A large rose tree stood near the entrance. The roses on it were white, but they were being painted red by 3 busy gardeners. Suddenly a shout went up, "The King and the Queen of Hearts!" And Alice watched the royal procession go by, splendidly decorated with clubs, diamonds and spades, and the 10 royal children ornamented with hearts. Alice thought the rabbit might notice her, but he didn't seem to though the Queen most certainly did. "Who is this?" she demanded. "Who are you, child?" "I'm Alice, so pleased your Majesty," said Alice. The Queen then turned her attention to the 3 gardeners who had not completed their painting. "Off with their heads!" she screamed. "That's not fair," said Alice, and she put the poor gardeners into the large flower pot that stood near. The procession moved on until the Queen shouted, "Croquet time!" and Alice was given a flamingo for a mallet. The balls were live hedgehogs. Alice looked round for the White Rabbit, who had appeared so unexpectedly at her side, but he had vanished. Meantime, she was struggling with the flamingo, which would twist itself round every now and then and look into her face. The other players were all shouting and quarrelling, and the Queen was now in a furious passion. She was stamping about, shouting, "Off with his head!" or "Off with her head!" Alice began to feel very uneasy about her own head. She was looking round for some way of escape when she saw a curious appearance in the air. It puzzled her at first, but after a minute she made it out to be a grin, and she said to herself, "It must be the Cheshire Cat." In another minute the whole head appeared, and Alice began telling it all about the game. "There aren't any rules," she said, "and the Queen's hedgehog always runs away when it sees mine coming. If you ask me, it's all very silly." Alice broke off as the King came up. "Who are you talking to?" he asked, staring up at the cat's head. "It's a friend, a Cheshire Cat," said Alice. "Well, I don't like the look of it," said the King. "Off with his head!" shouted the Queen, when the King asked her to have a cat removed. I'll fetch the executioner myself," said the King eagerly, and he hurried off. A small crowd had gathered when he returned with the executioner, who was looking very grim. "I can't cut off her head unless it is fixed to a body," he said over and over again, despite loud shouts of silence from the Queen. At last, someone suggested asking the Duchess. "Fetch her," said the Queen. "She is in prison." But before the Duchess arrived, the cat had gone.